What's up, everybody? I have some updates for you guys on firmware. I'm right now moving into the actual testing phase of the 2.12 update, which will bring the, why am I blanking on this? The input shaping to Marlin. So right now I'm actually going through, I literally was just working on this. And this is normal for when we do an update, is getting a bunch of compilers. So I'm going through and seeing what values were changed. Like you can see, I had to go through and rename some things, but I am actively working on this right now. This is Marlin 2.12, and you can actually see on our GitHub here all the pushes that we've been doing to update to the new 2.12 code. So I'm hoping that this will be able to be released in, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks once we do testing. But this is a major update. So right now, if you guys are used to our Unified 2.0 series, this is currently on 2.093 Marlin, and 2.12 is the latest update. So, and I think one of them here, yeah. So this one here, you can see in the config.h file now, here's the whole block of code for the input shaping, which is the feature that allows you to print faster with less artifact. This is like one of the things that the Clipper fanboys go crazy about. Well, now it's in Marlin, and this is all done on your actual printer's control board itself. You don't need a Raspberry Pi. You don't need a complicated setup for like Clipper, where you have, you know, like the Clipper firmware itself on the board, and then having to figure that out, and all your pin mappings, and, you know, the interface that they use and all the other stuff. This all can run on the printer's board. Now, the only thing that I'm seeing here that might be a possible limiting factor for people with older boards or lower end boards, as you can see here, it uses a lot of RAM. So boards like our EasyBoard V2 will be able to run this. The V1 will probably be able to run this as well, but more limited boards, like especially the 8-bit ones, I'd be surprised if the 8-bit boards can run these. It might be possible, but it's something we're going to test to see if it's feasible to run it on the 8-bit boards. And the other ones that come to mind are the ones with the STM32F1 processor. So a lot of the Creality boards, and some of the Big Tree Tech SKR boards like the E3 series. But we're going to go through and test all this. So this is the big thing people are excited about. Obviously, there's a lot of other bug fixes that come along with this. But once we have an actual, you know, compiling build, you can see here, if I compile right now, it's just going to fail. And I'm assuming this is failing because of some menu customizations that I did on the back end. I got to see if there's like a section that I forgot to carry over, but I've reviewed thousands of files over the last couple days to get this updated, and getting everything merged in. And like one thing they do is, the Marlin team likes to rename things. So like this was like LCD bed leveling or something. So now it's bed tramming. I got to see what other things they changed in the configuration H file, and then we got to go and update our configuration files accordingly. Luckily, the way I've designed the firmware, a lot of the core settings are in this one file, so if I update this, it updates it for all the configs. The other thing is, it updates to the actual printer configs in the configuration H if they changed any of the other values that we typically use to set different things for the printer to actually make everything work. So it's a big update. It's going to take a lot of time, and we want to make sure that it works. But once we get to a point where it's compiling, we're able to flash on the printers, and it's working, I'm probably going to do a thread in our Discord server for like an open beta test with some of the packages for people to test, and help us test and get feedback and run on the printers before we actually do an official release, if that makes sense. So all right. Oh, I forgot to fire the bot up. Hang on. I'm not getting any of your guys' questions. So if you guys ask questions, you have to re-enter them. I forgot something today, and that was putting the bot on. It is loading up right now. Give me a sec. It takes forever for some reason on every computer I have. Yeah. But yeah. So all right. The bot is trying to connect. Come on. There we go. All right. Let's see. Let's see if the bot's working. So Q test. It's responding to their, okay. All right, let me open up my questions file here. I think the last term we did, we were just kind of winging it because I was out in the print farm last week, I believe, if memory serves me correct. So, but yeah, there we go. All right, so the bot's working, so you guys can ask me questions. So anyways, yeah, so the Ender 7, I'm almost done with this. If you guys noticed, we did list the spacers, as I was talking about in the last stream, for the Ender 7. I did post, let me see if I can, there's a lot of crap on my bench. I can't actually get the camera into where I need to do it. But basically, the Ender 7 use the regular spacers. The only thing I did notice when I was putting them on is the carriage has a, like, threaded protrusion for some reason, where the screws go through on the front. So if you just put the spacers on there, the rear is going to be 2 millimeters lower than the front. So I actually designed some little printable spacers, and these are on the website for free. We did post out about this, but they're just little spacers that you can print, and they are designed for the little spacer sets we sell, and it just sits in here, and this makes it so the front and the back are level. But I did put pictures up on the website here. Let me pull up the support article. So here we go. It's coming up. So this is what's on mine right now. You can see I got rid of the springs. You got these spacers here. So these are in the rear. You just have these little printed parts. The file's right here. If you guys want the spacers, you can click this link. It says here, we carry a cheap set of spacers. So there you go. So these are actually the same spacers we use in our solid bed mount kits, but this printer, because of how the bed carriage is, you can't use our solid bed mount kits, but the spacers themselves work. For those of you that are wanting to use them for general projects, I did take pictures of the spacers with caliper measurements, so you can actually see the ID of the hole, the OD of the actual spacer, and the length. So those are the three measurements we need to figure out if they're going to work on whatever you're using them for. And then there's a link here to this page. So that's what I'm running on here. One thing I did do is instead of putting the knobs back on, I just put M4 nuts. So these M4 bolts, put M4 nuts on there, and then put some Loctite on them and tighten them down. And then the protrusion here, I didn't want to like hit my hand on this. So I actually just took my Dremel with a grinding wheel or a cutting wheel on it, and then I cut them off with the nut, leaving about, I don't know, 2 millimeters of threads sticking out of the nut. So now they're not sitting down. So and that works perfectly. So if you want a nice clean install where the bed doesn't move, that's what I did on mine. Just literally these spacers here that we have in the shop, they're $8 for 4 of them. And then the little printed parts. And I would recommend you do these in PETG or ABS just because they're near the bed. PLA might be okay, but I'd be worried about it warping long term, especially if you print in PLA and then you're printing with like 80C or 100C bed temps, like for PETG or ABS, they're probably going to get soft and then they're going to smush. So I did mine in ABS. But anyways, yeah, so I'm trying to think any other updates I have here. What else did I do? I actually ordered the Tiny Machines flex plate for that because originally I was going to use the 290 on that, but once I put the Tiny Machines Dual Z kit on there, the little bearing blocks that hold the lead screws up front actually get in the way of using a larger plate. So if you are using theirs, I'd probably recommend getting their plate. I use our magnet, and I just picked up their plate since our magnets work with their plates. So, yeah, so I got the flex plate on there. I'm trying to think of what else I got to do to this. The hot end fan's already going out. When you turn it on, the bearings start making that grinding noise, so I'm going to replace that fan. I'm probably going to replace any of the other ones that we have like stock for. I do have a couple of new products I want to show you guys just to make you aware that we have them. So if I go to our store, I hit all products here on the left, and if I sort by latest, you'll see that we have, these are getting stocked. So we're going to have D1 minis and AM2302, also known as DHT22 modules. If you have an Ender 3 S1, we also have the blower fans for those. So we're going to have these. I'm going to put more information on here. It's just a placeholder page, but these are D1 minis with 4 megabytes of flash. So these are not like the 1 megabyte ones that you'll sometimes get swapped out from. These actually have 4 megs of flash, which is really good for your projects. And keeping with our theme of actually selling you guys good quality stuff, these are actual AM2302 chips on here. So these are temperature and humidity sensors. I believe Marlin has support for these, but I use these for IoT projects. So if I wanted to like throw a temperature and humidity sensor in one of my enclosures, this with that little D1 mini board is everything you need to make a network connected Wi-Fi or network connected over Wi-Fi temperature humidity sensor. And the reason I do not like the knockoffs of these is they're very inaccurate. When I was building my humidor project, I had bought some from Amazon, and they were just like generic white housings with no markings on them at all. They were knockoff of these AM2302s, and their temperatures were off by about 6 degrees, and they got worse depending on where you're at. Like in the mid-range, like the 50 to 70 degree range, they were okay. But like once you got up higher to like 100-degree range or lower down into like the freezing temperatures, they were wildly off. So these are actual genuine AS Air chips on here. So this is what you want to make sure is actually good quality. So yeah, I'm not going to sell the cheap ones. These were more expensive to get in, but I want something that works and isn't going to be completely off with the calibration. And the humidity on the knockoff ones were anywhere from 10 to 20% off. And to calibrate stuff with humidity sensors, you have to put it in a bag with a salt and water solution, let it sit and stabilize, and it'll get, I think it's a 75% humidity target. Basically, you have like a little dish with water and salt in there, and you let it kind of equalize, and basically the air should be about 75% humidity. And when I would do the calibration with the knockoffs, they'd be like 10 to 20% off. These are within 1% or 2% every time I've calibrated them. So this is what I use for my personal project. So again, I'm going to sell you guys stuff that I use. So if you're looking for good quality AM2302 chips, or also known as DHT22 sensors, we have these. And these will be stocked later today. We're doing final counts and packaging on these because we're packaging these with a little set of DuPont jumpers. And again, if you have Ender 3 S1, we actually have our own blower fans now. So this is the fan that cools the hot end heatsink. So if yours is making noise or going out, we have those. And this is a ball bearing fan. It's not a sleeve bearing. So we have these as well in the shop, these little guys, and they work great. And it's a drop-in replacement. For somebody that was asking on the last stream about our Meanwhile PSU covers, they're on here. You know, we suggest a $5 purchase, but you can go down to $2 if you're cheap. But this is for a case that'll take an IEC receptacle in the front here, which is like what the Ender 3 comes with, and it'll work with the Meanwhile LRS 200 and 350 series. I have the compatibility list here, and it'll even fit the Creality knockoff. And then if you don't have a receptacle, I put a link here to the ones that fit it. So these are like what Creality uses, these same style ones, in terms of the size and the screw hole spacing. So this will actually fit into this housing here if you, for some reason, yours broke or you don't have it, or you're using this for a project. So trying to think of anything else that I want to touch on today. Oh, I did. Peter, I saw Peter said he sent me something for the Tina 2, which will go on my mom's Tina 2. So I got this in the mail. I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, we got a package at our P.O. box. And I was like, oh, this is the little heater. I think it was Peter that told me he was sending me a little heater here. And this looks like a little silicone heater. I'm just opening it now. So I think this would fit there. I think I can figure out how to make this work. I don't know what the resistance is, so I'll figure out how many watts I need to do, but this will be an interesting little thing. And it'd be nice because I have the other Tina 2. I gave the one to my buddy, but I'll definitely put this on my mom so she can have a heated bed. So thank you, Peter, for sending this to me. This will go on my mom's printer, and I'm going to get her into printing. So she helps us with like our bookkeeping and some of our marketing stuff, and I wanted to give her a small printer. It doesn't take up a ton of space, that she could play with, and this will make it so she can actually do other materials because it is a nice little printer. So, and if she gets into it, I'll hook her up with a larger one, but I think this will be a good starter one. So this will be nice. A little custom made Tina 2. So it's the wrong size, is it? So here's the thing with these heaters. If you have a thermal camera, which I do, you can put power into these and see where the wires are actually in here. And sometimes you can get away with cutting this down. So maybe I'll be able to cut this down if this is the incorrect size. It looks pretty close though. This looks like this came from China and then it was relabeled once it hit New York. So, because there's a label over a label here. So yeah. Anyways, all right. The bot is answering questions, so you guys can go ahead and pop these in. I see someone a BME 280. Those are aren't those the Bosch temp humidity sensors? I can get those if people are interested in them. I like the DHT22s because they're inexpensive and they're accurate enough for what I do, which is usually like, for example, like I have them in my cigar humidors for temperature and humidity monitoring, and I did calibrate them, even the genuines, just because I want to make sure my humidity is spot on. Because obviously if it goes too high or too low, I'm losing a lot of expensive cigars. But I can definitely get the BME 280s. Those are the, I looked those up. Yeah, that's the Bosch, that's an I2C or SPI temperature, humidity, and pressure sensor. So to give you an idea, those are like 20-something dollars. They are really, really accurate though. So they're definitely gonna be more accurate than the DHT22s. But again, cost is a thing. So if you're doing just like something to throw outside, like I kind of want to take and I'll do a video if I do this. I kind of want to just take a little ESP, like the little ESP chip that I showed you guys earlier with that DHT22, put it in a case, design it so I can actually put it outside. So like have it so it's got like almost like a little roof on it. And then have the sensor up in the peak of the roof. So like if it rains or something, it's isolated, but still is in the open air. You know, and they're cheap enough. So if it does get damaged, it's not a big deal, but it'd be nice if I can just put one outside so I can actually get my own outside temperature reading and humidity reading, instead of relying on an internet connected one. But you know, it's cool like that. And like the ESP, the ESP boards are nice. Because you got a ton of inputs and outputs. So I could start with that and like, oh, maybe I want to have a control like a light or something, or maybe I want to have some sort of proximity sensor on it. I can always build onto it and make it do more things than just the temperature and humidity sensor. So, but I will make a note of that right now. I'm gonna do it right now. The BME 280s. I think those came up. I didn't get them because I didn't know if anybody was aware of them. They're not super popular because they are more expensive, but I wouldn't mind getting a small quantity of those in. And the thing is that we can get smaller quantities of stuff and see if they sell. But they are nice sensors. They're just like 4 to 5 times the cost of the DHT22 style. So, but I'm putting a note right here. So, and I'll get pricing. We'll see. And again, I don't know if there's knockoffs of those BME 280 sensors. But again, I want to make sure we're getting like actual name brand stuff, because I don't want to be selling you guys stuff that's going to be inaccurate, because it's frustrating when you get parts that don't work. All right. Let's jump into the chat. So if this is your guys' first time here, these streams we do every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. You can ask me questions about your 3D printer. We do FDM printing here, so no resin questions. So any kind of questions you have, just be detailed. You know, if you're asking a very generic question, I'll tell you that's a generic question. I'll need more information. So, you know, put some effort into your question, and I'll put some effort into the answers. So, but yeah. The streams usually start off with like whatever updates we have going on here, which we're talking about all the firmware updates that are coming. Also, at the end of the stream, we're going to be giving Remo his birthday cake, because he will be turning 2 tomorrow, and Krista got him a birthday cake. So I figured one day early is fine. He's a dog. He doesn't know. All he's going to know is, oh my God, I'm getting a treat. So he's looking at me because I said the T word. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we have for questions. All right. I need to turn word wrap on in Notepad++. Where is it? There it is. Because it's not doing the word wrap. All right. So Vic is the first one. He said, any way to purchase the extrusion/trim cover that comes with the NeoPixels? I'm assuming you mean our Easy Neos. It's a cleaner look than the printed covers, in my opinion. I do agree with you there. I don't have any extras, but I can message my buddy that gets all the Easy Neo kits made for us, and see if he can just get us a big roll of it, and we could sell it in, you know, whatever lengths. I'm going to do that right now. How's that? I'm going to do it right now. Let's see. Hey, can I get like 100 feet? Should I get 100 feet or more? How many feet should I order? Because I feel like I would use that a lot if I had that for covering up wires. How many of you guys would like to have little wire covers that snap into your extrusion? They're black. I would only get them in one color, so don't ask me for multiple colors. But I definitely would do that. I'm gonna wait a sec to see. I mean, I'm assuming. Okay, I'll order like 500 feet of it. Can you get me a price on like 500 feet of the extrusion covers you bundle with the Easy Neo kits? Thanks. All right. If it's not prohibitively expensive, I'm assuming it's not going to be, then we'll get them in. Simple as that. How's that? All right. The next one is from Peter. It does this. Look at this. Look at this. Because if your wives are wondering why I get weird on some of the questions, look at what YouTube does. So it's like it's translating a username. I don't know if this was what word this was, if it was like what or something. But yeah, it does weird stuff like this. I don't know why. It just does it. So the Ender 7, I'm assuming will was the word. I gotta scroll up. What question was that? What question was that? I'm trying to find it. And, okay, there's the extrusion question. Will. Okay, so it translated the word will into that weird code. What the hell? So will the Ender 17 be including the updates? Are all the firmwares locked on upgrades? E.g., are the releases for those printers final? No. So the Ender set all the printers will be getting the update. The thing is, with the new firmware features, so like the input shaping, we're going to test them, and if it's one of those things where it will compile and have that feature in the 8-bit boards, but it runs like crap, we're just going to make it so you can't turn it on unless you like comment out the warnings I put in place. Because if it doesn't run good, I don't want people emailing us saying that it's running like crap, if that makes sense. But no, the way I have our firmware set up is we have our code base that everything is built on, and then we have separate configuration files for all the printers, for all their individual settings, and then I try to make everything unified in their configuration, meaning if you have, if you have an ANET printer, or you have a Creality printer, or a VoxLab printer, and you're running our firmware on them, it's the same experience on all the printers. So that's my goal with Unified 2, and in addition to just making it easier to set up, because it's a hell of a lot easier to set up our firmware than Marlin. But there are things that we have to do, like making sure that if users turn a bunch of stuff on, the printer still runs correctly and having sanity checks. So like, for example, just an easy one is like boards with the 22.8s in standalone mode, which is an issue in the current version of Marlin we're on, where linear advance doesn't work. Now, supposedly, in this new release, they fixed that, and I'm going to test it. But right now, we have warnings thrown that tell you that it's not to be used. Or like if you turn on multiple options where it's going to run out of memory, we know it's going to run out of memory, we'll throw an option saying, hey, this is not going to work, disable one of these two features. So like I go and actually test all this stuff to make sure we're not putting out code that just doesn't work, and to kind of save the users from their own their greed of turning features on. So if that makes sense. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, hey, I'm throwing together some bed sizes and motor directions. There's a lot more than just that. So, all right. I just saw somebody text me. Who is that? Hang on one second. It's a busy day today. Megan say, don't be cheap, buy an easy board. But no. God, can you imagine people like going crazy? They're blocking us, so you have to buy their boards. But no. Anyways, let's see. The next question would be, Lost Sync says, does Marlin support gantry leveling? Asking for machines with belted Z mods. So yes, they do support gantry leveling. I think that's G34. I can never remember the G code command, but they do have it's a Z leveling feature. You have to have two independently wired Z steppers, and they each have to go on their own Z motor. So If you have a printer that's set up like that, right now the only printer that's in our firmware that supports that by default, because that's how it comes, is the Anycubic Chiron. But yeah, like Marlin supports that feature. You're asking for machines with belted Z-mods, so I'm assuming you're running standard Marlin. Yes, standard Marlin has that. Hey, look at that. My buddy got back to me about that. I'm assuming for those extrusion covers, I'll just buy one big length, and then whatever you guys order will come in one big length. I feel like that'd be best, and then you can cut them up. While that was quick, he's in the U.S., so yeah. All right. Let's see. Backwoods Singer, when can we do a fan hangout with Tim and drink beers and burn pallets at TH3D headquarters? I would not be opposed to that, but we'd have to plan it. We do have a fairly large property here. We got 2 acres, and I got a big-ass fire pit. That'd be fun. We're out here in Indiana. We're not going to have any outdoor events right now because it's a little cold here right now. The snow's melting, but yeah. All right. That'd be cool. Send us a message. If you are local, send us a message. We are going to qualify people before I invite you over because this is my personal property. Like, we operate out of my home property. Our shop is a separate building, but it's still my home property. So I do vet people before I'm like, oh yeah, come over. And we get some weirdos showing up. I've had people show up here. Not even joking. That's why we have a P.O. box. I mean, it's not hard to find our actual address. But yeah, I had some guys show up trying to return a product on like a Saturday at like 8:30 in the morning. And I was like, what the hell are you doing here? Who are you? Like, yeah, so that's why there's guns everywhere. Because I don't want someone showing up here. Why don't you go back to where you come from? Yeah, anyways. Let's see. Peter said, I already bought your regular spacers. The printable ones look way too small. Why are they so small? What are you talking about? These? Hang on. I don't have spacers. They're on the printer. These are adapters for the bare spacers, Peter. Not the solid bed kit. So if that makes sense. I think you had asked them to send you just spacers instead of the bed kit, if memory serves correctly. So but yeah, these are for the bare spacers. Like, if you looked at the picture on the page, it's just to raise it up because the front is higher than the rear on that bed carriage. But that file's there. I figured it's best to just put the file instead of us trying to print them. I don't know how popular they're going to be. I figure you guys can manage printing a little tiny part. You only need 2 of them. Any chance of carrying an ANET A8? Absolutely not. My insurance carrier would hate me. I do not want to. I'm not getting into the business of fire starters, okay? Ronald Gervais, what's the preferred filament your store sells? So we carry a bunch of different filaments. We have our own 2 lines that we just came out with. There's the Spaghetti line, which is our fancy stuff, our Easy Choice, which are our more basic stuff. And then we also have coax. So if we're doing basic things like black filaments or just base colors, we use coax a lot. Coax is still my preferred brand. The reason we ended up going outside of the U.S. to get our special filaments made is because a lot of the U.S. manufacturers, their production lines are already maxed out and they have no interest, and I've talked to multiple of them, they have no interest in doing the fancy filaments. So unfortunately, I had to go overseas to get that done. But if I'm going with a basic print, like I'm just doing a regular color, it's functional, like I'm just doing a base color and it's in the coax line, I'll go with coax. If I want something cool, like decorative, ornamental, or just something to look fancy, like I'm printing a toy or something, I then will look at our spaghetti stuff because we got a lot of cool tricolor and bicolor and matte filaments and silk filaments and stuff. So the thing with coax that I like the most about is the consistency, in that the rolls I printed with 3 or 4 years ago print just like the rolls I bought 3 months ago. There's a lot of consistency. Now, one thing we are doing, since we are getting our filament overseas, and I want to make sure our customers don't deal with issues, is every time we get a batch of filament in from the supplier, we are pulling filament rolls and testing them to make sure that they print just like they did the last time. I don't have to do that with coax, but we are doing additional QC. So I guarantee, other sellers that are reselling, filament that's made in China on Amazon or wherever, they're not going to be doing tests of everyone. They're just going to order the filament, send it over there, and hopefully you guys get something that's good. We are doing QC and testing on the filament on every batch we get in. So, and if we get a batch that prints like crap, I'm sending it back to them. So, but anyways, okay. But yeah, in short, if coax has the color and I'm doing something basic, I go with coax. If I'm doing fancier stuff like decorative things or I want cool colors, then I'll look at what we have in our spaghetti line. Also in the spaghetti line, if you guys want carbon fiber ABSs and carbon fiber PETGs, we have those, and those print amazingly, and they're really good value. Excalibur, is it possible to 3D print a adult toy, or is it too dangerous? So funny enough, there was a client of a 3D printing company that I know the owner from, and they use their printers to print adult toys, but they don't print the toys. They actually use the printers to print the objects to make silicone molds, and then they use those molds that they made from the 3D prints to actually make the toys. So I probably would not ever use a printer to print adult toys. But using them to make molds would be fine. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Jay Moore says, I'm having, oh God, I'm having a stroke reading this. I'm having your easy plug stop pinging. I go to check the plugs out and the blue light is out. It won't come back even after trying to reset them. When reset them, they're dead. We have 2 that have gone bad. Send us a message and then we'll get those back. I did have my buddy Emerson. He had 2 of them where they just stopped responding. And I opened it up and there was a cap that went out in them. So, but we will replace them. Just send us a message. I personally have not had any go out. I have some from when we launched them. I have some from the latest batch. So it could just be you got a bad one, but we do have our warranty on them. So let us know. Shoot us a message and send us pictures. But basically, if you do the reset procedure, it's not coming back up. It's just going to need to get replaced. They're really not serviceable. I don't know if I have one around here. I used to have one that I had like open. It was like a prototype one that I was not sealed. But they're really not serviceable. They're actually sealed shut. But yeah, just let us know. And even if you're out of warranty, we can give you a discount code on a replacement one. So the support guys have approval to do that. So let us know. All right. What's the best way? Kalio5 said, what's the best way to twist stepper motor wires? I don't know what you mean by FIR banks management. FIR banks management? Or just cable tie them? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I always just zip tie mine up with other wires. So, all right. Sorry, predictive text on phone. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing if you... What? I'm assuming if you mean, like, the pairs? Like, for each motor coil? Typically, most of the stepper motor wires I use, they're, like, those 4 where they're all bonded together, and they're usually, like, what is it, like, red, green, blue, black, or something like that. I think it's personal preference. If you're making, like, your own... just tighten them up. Just zip tie them. I will say, though, if you are making your own stepper motor wires, make them the as shortest length possible, because the longer you go, the more voltage drop you're going to get. So, and use good quality wire. Don't use copper clad aluminum. Make sure if you're making your own cables that you're getting actual copper wire, and go at least, like, I usually do about 20 gauge if I'm doing custom stepper motor wires. Let's see. Peter says, do you know that there are extenders for the ports on the Ender 7? So with the right hardware, you can use the easy board with the Ender 7. I don't know what you're talking about with that. Let's see. Peter asked about the spacers. So, Peter, I know you ordered those spacers, and on the last stream I said the regular ones will not fit, and we were making that listing, which is the listing I showed earlier. So if you have the regular spacers and you didn't put a note for them, I think you said that you put a note on there when I replied to your Facebook comment, then you're going to get the normal spacers, which are not going to fit, which I said they will not fit. You just want the spacers, not the actual bed kit that uses those spacers. So they're two different things. All right. Lossing says, is the defined game mode compatible with the D-Win screen on the Ender 3 V2? It is not. It is not compatible. I'm freezing and glitching. The connection looks fine. I'm not seeing any issues. Yeah, the game mode is not compatible. I tried it, and I don't even know if it'll let you compile. I would try to compile right now, but I got my test firmware up in Visual Studio Code right now. But yeah, like the D-Win, the D-Wins don't work with it. It only works on the 12864s. So I don't have any more questions in queue. Maybe I think it's time for us to give Remo his cake for his birthday. What do you think, Krista? You want to bring his cake out for the birthday boy? I know there's a slight delay. I can see her on our camera system. She's in the kitchen. Bring the cake out. Yes. What did Peter say? There was another question here. Oh, I accidentally closed the question file. Oh, they're extenders for the SD card and the USB port. Okay, I'll have to look at that. I don't know if I'm going to change that out, but my Ender 6 is going to be getting a Creality board lobotomy because it's having issues. But all right. Oh, this is the ultimate end of stream treat. What is it? Isn't it peanut butter bacon?
Peanut butter and bacon.
Oh, look at this. Look how cute this is. I'm going to hold this so it doesn't fall off. Oh, look at it. It's the birth. Are we going to give him the whole thing?
Yeah.
You're going to be 2 tomorrow. He's like, is that mine? How do you know that's yours? This actually smells pretty good.
It smells good.
Do you want this? Can everybody say happy birthday for Remo? You ready? Do you want this? Can we speak? Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? You speak? Yeah? Do you want this? Here you go. Ready? Let me move the microphone so you guys can see him. Hang on. Here, we're gonna put this on this so he doesn't make as big of a mess. Ready? Oh! You pushed it into me. Sit. Good boy. Here you go. It's your birthday cake. And we took the cookie off the top. He's we have the whole cake and we're going after the cookie that was on top. Because dog logic. Go ahead, eat the whole thing. That's all yours. Look how gentle we're being.
He doesn't know what to do with himself.
He doesn't know.
For a cupcake.
Hang on. Hey, buddy. Here. There you go. I wonder if he'll get the message now. I just cut it open. There he goes. Good boy.
He's like looking.
There we go. We're figuring it out. Will you eat it? Why are you just gonna lick all the peanut butter frosting off? Eat it. Eat. There we go. Oh, we're going over to our bed. We took half the cake with us. We're going over to the bed. Hang on. I don't know if I have. Oh, I don't think I reinstalled the plugin. Hang on. Is the Droid Cam OBS in here? It's not. Hang on. I can pull up where is it? I can pull up the office camera here. And by the way, he is going to town. There we go. There you go. Good boy. Oh.
Oh,
I just took the other half of it. Comment. Comment got the message really quick. Oh god, there's gonna be such a mess in here.
no. Remote, here you
Ah,
go.
Comet got the message. Leave it to the golden retriever to just take half the cake. There we go. You can see them. They're going to town. And Remo's cleaning up. Comet he wasted no time. He just took half the cake and walked off with it. Oh my god. Oh man.
Doggy buffet right now.
Remo's going to town now. I wish you could see I wish my OBS camera was working. I forgot to reset it back up on here. But yeah. All right. Do we have any more questions before I wrap this up? You guys are pretty quiet today.
There's 60 people.
So, all right. I do have confirmation. We have 500 feet of the extrusion cover coming in. So we should have that, I'm assuming, in a couple of weeks. So, all right. What you guys? I got time for a couple more questions if you guys want to toss them my way. Let's see. I'm just gonna scroll through chat, see if there's anything interesting here. Where'd my chat go? I lost chat. Comet has already demolished the pupcake. Oh my god. Comet is my spirit animal, half the cake. He wasted 0 time. He took the whole thing and went over there. Was like, I am eating this. Jeff Cross said, just want to say thank you for being realistic with your conversations and honest with all you do. I'm a customer that appreciates honesty. Well, I'm glad. I figure the easiest way is just be honest with people, you know, and that way you don't have any of those, you know, conversations where people are like, oh, well, you guys are being fake or something. Like, hi, Comet. If you guys want to say Comet. Oh, come here. Oh, he's getting so heavy. Was that pupcake delicious? He's got slobber on him. Was that yummy? Remo is still eating his cake here. When are we having a comment emoji? I should do that. He is heavy. Look how big he is. Here. Look how big he is. He's so big. What, he's 4 months old now, right?
Yeah.
When was his birthday? The 25th?
24th.
August 24th? Yeah. Is he a red?
Yeah.
He's definitely a redder retriever. We intentionally got the darker colored one. Yeah. This is the one that suckered Krista. He kept bugging her. He's like, can you put me down so I can get food? Do you want food? Do you want to go eat up the crumbs?
He wants to eat the cake.
Well, Remo's already made it through half the cake.
He's getting the crumbs.
Do you think I should put Comet down?
No.
No? All right. Well, yeah, he's huge. He's probably about 30, I don't know, he's probably coming up to 30 pounds at least.
Someone said probably
All right. Okay. Nope, that is not food. That is my microphone. Do not eat that. Peter has said, don't the regular spacers work at the M7? They do not. I said that. Like the solid bed mounts. Okay, there's spacers, which are just the aluminum spacers, and we have our solid bed mounts, which use the aluminum spacers in their assembly. So here's the difference. So the spacers are just spacers. They're just aluminum spacers. Our solid bed mounts use those spacers in when we assemble them. So we have an arbor press that we use to press these spacers into the printed parts. And the benefit of the solid bed mounts is that they give you strain relief. They have an optional camera arm, and they also look nicer too on the regular round parts because they have a ABS sleeve on them. So, but the thing is, on the under 7, they don't fit because of how the bed is designed. So they physically fit over the screws, but the problem is because the bed has like the little lips on the side, they'll hit, so they won't go down all the way. That's the issue. And the good thing is the Ender 7 already has a strain relief on it, so it's an ideal solution, and it's cheaper too to just get the spacers instead of the solid bed mounts. Because solid bed mounts are like $20, because there's a lot more work to do them, versus just the aluminum spacers, which are $8 because it's just 4 aluminum machine spacers. So, comment. Remo's been getting better at sharing his food with him. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he goes after it. All right. Let's see the questions here. When can I get one of your boards on the Ender 6? I'm gonna be doing that probably next week or the week after at the latest. So Remo used to like kind of snip at him when he would go buy his food, but then Remo got his ass beat for being a dick, and he's been better. So I'm gonna let Comet will clean up every single one of those crumbs. Good boys. Yeah, I think Remo's just accepted that he's got to share instead of being a spoiled only child. But yeah, so basically how the Ender 6 is going to go is there's going to be a stream where I'm figuring out, so I'm going to figure it out on live how to actually hook everything up. I'm going to document everything, take pictures, put it on the website, and it'll basically be like a supplemental thing. So it's like, here it is. It's not as easy as the other printers, but it can be done. Here's the limitations of doing it. I can tell you right now, one of the limitations is going to be that you won't be able to access the SD slot, because on the Ender 6, by default, the SD slot is actually on an extension cable, and instead of it just going into the SD slot, they actually have it go to a pin header, and our EasyBoard doesn't have that because the SD slot's on board. I know I have them somewhere. I can't remember if they're in this drawer or not. But do you guys ever see those like little SD ribbon cable extensions that you can get fairly cheap? I'm not a fan of them because I have had people damage the SD slots on our boards. But I was going to play around with them. And as long as it's mounted where they can't get hit, they shouldn't be a problem. But also, if you're printing over USB, like if you're using, Clipper with it, or if you use an Octoprint like I do, I never touch the SD slot unless I'm updating the firmware, which basically how I do my printers is once I build it, the firmware that I built it with stays on it until I need to do an update, which is rarely, if ever. So, the thing is, you can also just leave the bottom off the printer. You need to get the SD slot, just tilt the printer up, pop the card out, pop it in, and set the printer back down. But it's not like going to be the Ender 3 where you take the bottom off, you unscrew the board, disconnect the cables, put the new board in, connect the cables up, and flash the firmware. It's not going to be a super like streamlined drop-in. I don't know how to. I'm very anal about trying to make things as easy as possible. So when it gets into like these like fringe cases where it's like, yes, it works and it'll be fine. I just don't like. I like having everything polished and nice and try to retain all the factory functionality as possible. But seeing as my Ender 6 is having issues and I can't find the replacement boards, I'm worried about other people, the Ender 6s who are having issues with their control boards are also having the same issue where they can't find replacement boards. Yeah, we'll do that. So, anyways, yeah, so in a couple weeks, because mine's having issues with the Z motor's just shutting off. So, comment emoji. We answered that, but I'm going to go ahead and put a note for myself to put a comment emoji in. We'll put on like Discord in the channel here. So here, make comment. Make comment emoji. And then I'm going to put here specify. So we're going to have it on Discord and YouTube channel. I just realized the dog's got peanut butter on my sleeve. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. And then we're going to wrap this up because we got like 5 minutes left. All right. Peterson, sorry, I was working on Ender 3. I must have missed that. Yeah, it's all good. That's why I made a comment on your on the Facebook post saying, hey, those are not going to fit the Ender 7. So, I mean, you could always, if they already shipped out and you didn't specify, you could always just literally cut off the plastic and steal the spacers out of the kit and use those. because they're the same spacers we use to make the kits. They're just the bare spacers. So, all right. The next question is from Sean Blackman. He says, I'm installing EasyAble Micro on Enter 7. Should the power wire be fused? If so, what amperage? Nope, you don't need to fuse it. You're fine. Basically, if anything shorts out, it's going to blow out the diode on the board, and you're going to be fine. We also supply, I think it's 20 gauge solid wire. So if anything happens where it shorts out, it's just going to burn out the wire. But surprisingly, knock on wood, I haven't seen anybody do that. But yeah, you don't need to have a fuse on there. So, and your power supply will have short circuit protection too. Yep, 84. How was your Christmas? It was good. How's the Marlin build going? It's in progress. I showed that off at the beginning of the stream. Go back and watch it. And then for the last question, is going to be Dana Frost is asking, what temp does the room need to be to print? So that's a good question. And it's a very broad question, but it's going to allow me to elaborate. So in general, depending on where you live, like I would say if your room temperature is below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you're probably going to have warping. Because even with PLA, and this is from experience. So like this is actually, I don't know if you guys know, this is actually in my garage, my office here. And luckily it's heated, but I don't let the thermostat go below 60. In the print farm, we actually keep it a minimum of 64. This is for just general printing. Now, if you're printing PETG, you're definitely going to want to keep it above 60 because PETG will warp basically any materials you use, okay? If the room is too cold, they're going to warp. No matter how good your plate is, no matter how much adhesion promoter you use, they're gonna warp. They just are. The funny story is the whole reason the Ender 5 Plus is enclosed, that's over here, is because I was printing humidor trays that I designed for a wine cooler that I was converting to a humidor for some cigars, and it was a big 310 by like 340 item. And even though I was doing it PLA, it was warping just because of how big it was and how flat it was. And so then I enclosed it and it went away. I tried doing like little warp tabs, like having like the brims and stuff. It still pulled up. As soon as you get to a certain temperature point where it's too low, no matter what you do, your print's going to come up. It's just how it is. Now, if you're printing with ABS, you're going to want to have an enclosure. That's why you see these three printers, my Ender 6, my Ender 5 Plus, and then my custom built printer here. They're all enclosed because these are the printers I do ABS on. I do nylons on these, ABS, polycarbonates, that kind of stuff. Stuff that requires high temp. But yeah, in general, I would say if your ambient temperature in the room you're printing in is dipping below like 60 degrees, you're going to have issues with adhesion no matter what you do. No matter if you buy a Vision Miner and slather down there, no matter if you're printing on glass or printing on a flex plate or build tack or an easy mat, whatever, you're going to have issues if it's too cold. Actually, one of my customers who's actually my neighbor, he lives like literally across the creek over here, and he had his printer in his garage, and it was cold here because we're in the Midwest, and yeah, Comet, come here, Chris, if you're still watching, you take the puppy. I don't trust him not to do business in here. If you can get him, that'd be great. Anyways, he was having issues. He's like, I can't get anything to stick, and like I gave him a little sample bottle I had of the Vision Miner to try out. He was putting that down, and no matter what he did, he couldn't get it to stick. It was coming up, and I was asking him, I was like, is the printer in your house, or is it in your garage? And if it's in your garage, is your garage heated? And he goes, it's in my garage, and no, my garage is not heated. I was like, put the printer in the house, and your issues are going to go away. And sure enough, he moved the printer in the house where it was heated, and all his problems went away. So your mileage may vary. I'm just giving you my personal experience with all this stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to see if there's any more quick questions in here, and then we're going to wrap it up. I would give Remo his treat, but he got an entire cake. Well, most of the cake. Although, Comet may have the itis because he just passed out underneath my desk. You can take them both if you want. There you go. Take the vacuum cleaners. All right. Okay. Kelly's asking what kind of office chair do I use? So it's kind of extra, but I use a Herman Miller Aeron. That's what this is. I have the optional headrest. I bought this in 2020. 2020? No, 2019. I've had this since 2019. Now, they're really damn expensive. This one was like $1,200 when I bought it. I bought it new. I think they've gone up to almost $1,600-1,700 with all the inflation crap and all the other rising costs. But they are made in the US and they have a 10-year warranty. So I was able to justify the high cost by the fact that their warranty will send somebody out here if there's an issue. Also, it's made in the US. The quality is amazing. In the office in the basement that Krista and I use, we actually bought 2 used ones. So this is like what they call the remastered one, which has like a newer mechanism and stuff. But I bought 2 used ones and basically refurbished them myself. Like they were functional, but like the gas lift was going out. But they were like 14 years old. So I would recommend, if you don't have money to go buy a new one, go look at used ones, because the market for parts for them, either aftermarket or original, is huge. And I can say honestly, it was worth every penny, even though it's expensive, because I have not had issues with my back anymore. And when you sit in the chair all day, you know, it's like buying a good mattress. You got to have a good desk chair. And, you know, honestly, the gamer chairs look cool, but they suck. They suck for actual ergonomics. I think the only gamer chair I'd probably try would be, there was actually a collab between Herman Miller and Logitech to make a gaming chair that doesn't suck. So, but yeah. And then Dana's got one last question here. If I print in a garage, it'll be around 100 because I'm in South Texas. So I wonder if I should be in an air-conditioned room. So that's another thing. Going too hot, if you're printing ABS, it's probably not going to matter. PETG, might be. But PLA, you're probably going to run into jams because the ambient temperature is going to be high to the point where the fan's not going to be able to cool the heatsink down. And basically, once you start getting around 50 to 60 C on your hot end heatsink, because it's so hot in the room, you're going to start getting the PLA balling up. So what I've seen guys do is they get like little, like the big grow tents, they call them, like the grow tents, you know what I'm talking about? Like the plastic frames, like we're talking like room size ones. So they have a bunch of printers. They make like a little area in their garage and they throw a portable air conditioning unit in that. So it's only cooling this like 50 square foot area, and then just vent the air, the hot air from the portable unit into their garage. And that's what I would do if I was, you know, if I didn't have a, you know, insulated garage that I could easily air condition, and my printers had to be out there. But yeah, too hot's also a problem too. So, anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. If you guys want to get notifications, there is a link at the bottom of our website and in the video description to get an email. We'll send out emails 30 minutes before we go live. We'll also send you out emails when we post new videos. That's all that email list is for. We do have a general marketing list if you guys want to get you know, product announcements, sales, that kind of stuff. We do have that as well on our website. But if you sign up for the YouTube notification, that is only for YouTube. We won't send you sales stuff or anything. And also, if you sign up for the all emails list, you don't get the YouTube notifications. So the YouTube notifications is the only list. We have it like segmented. So, but anyways, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed hanging out with you all. I hope you guys all had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you guys all have a happy New Year. And as always, happy printing. I will see you guys. Look at the calendar. It looks like I'm not going to see you guys until next year. So happy printing, everybody.